Good morning. Today we're going to look at the principle of design contrast. Contrast is the difference between two or more elements in a composition. It is the degree of difference between the lightest and darkest parts of a picture. So in this lesson, we're going to piggyback off the element of design value, and we're going to create various examples of contrast using value. So let's see what we're going to be using. Let's see if this is what I like. Yes, looks pretty good. So in this first box, we're gonna start out with some simple lines. Draw them very lightly. Give them a little bit of a curvature. And then we're going to I'm trying to find a better pencil here. Okay, that is the one that I wanted. Okay. I really like this when I was doing there you go. Okay, so like I said, don't press hard with your pencil. Okay, I'm making it a little bit darker over here so your example, or at least you can actually see it, because if it was too light you won't be able to see it. So when you're going to start shading, I want you to very lightly start making these marks that go in different directions, both at this angle, and then you go again this way. So we're going to try to create contrast between the sections that we have divided this box in. However, the way that we're going to do this is through the use of value. So many times what happens when you begin drawing is you focus too much on outline and you forget about the rest of the image. And this is when I want you to start thinking more about the whole entire section and the values that you might see. I'm gonna blend a little bit. So we're going to create contrast by focusing on value and not the outline of things. So this edge right here between this first section and the next is defined by the value contrast. Okay. So this is what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to create a line and just leave it there. That you don't want to do that. You want to have that line blend into the rest of the object that you are shading. So often you will hear me say, I need you to get rid of the outlines. This is basically how you get rid of the outline. You blend it into the object that you are shading. Now sometimes what students might do is make a thicker outline and then you have this bold outline around the object. So you want to blend it. You want to make sure that there's a smooth transition between the edge of the object and the value that is there. Like I was saying yesterday, when you know how to shade anything that you might draw, just like we just had, what, 3 lines that we had on this, in this box that we're making, and suddenly those 3 lines are becoming something completely different. So if you know how to shade, you can draw just about anything and make it look good. So I want to show you something very interesting that happens sometimes between various planes on in between. Let's say that this was some drapery that's hanging. There are soft edges and then there are hard edges. So this dark area right here that I just shaded, this is creating a pretty hard edge between this section right here and this section right here. And then as I move down in this area, I'm creating a soft edge now. So you can see the difference between a soft edge and a hard edge. And it's important to know how to create those because they are quite beautiful to have in a drawing. I think that looks pretty good, don't you? So if you want to do blending, you want to use either a brush, a makeup brush will be beautiful to try out, or a soft Q-tip, but please do not use tissues because the paper, rubbing against the paper is going to destroy the tooth of the paper. Okay, so next one that we're gonna do is gonna be slightly different. I want you to make a doodle. I want to show you how some simple lines can turn into something interesting. And in this case, we're going to focus on making this contrast by once again getting rid of the outlines. So the line is not going to be visible. All you are going to see is the shape that's there. But we're going to try not to do any blending in this case. So the blending, I'm talking about the blending with the brush. We're gonna try to do the blending with the pencil straight up. And okay, so I want to show you something. Um, so right over here in this particular section, you noticed how I shaded and I blended in my outline. However, over here in this section right here, I am not going to blend it in within this section that I have. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in the next shape right here, and this is where I'm going to make that darker value so that my outline goes away. And you do want to have a play between the darks and the lights. So if you have something that's light, maybe the shape behind it or next to it or in front of it is a different value. Depending on the situation, it may be a little bit darker or it may be a little bit lighter. So one thing that I like to do when I shade, especially if I'm doing some hatching the way that I'm doing here, is I like to turn my paper around. That way I can create those contour marks, and therefore helping my shape to become more interesting and more, sometimes even more three-dimensional. Well, actually, it will make it three-dimensional. But following the contours also helps. So if this line right here is curved in this direction, then you want the marks that you use to shade, you want them to go in the same direction. You want to kind of follow that curve. So I realized that your drawing may be slightly different than mine because I did not make straight lines. I made some rather curved lines over here, loopy lines. So your shading will probably be a little bit different, but that's okay. The thing that I want you to focus on is to make sure that the outlines are not visible and that you are shading in and creating some contrast with your shading. So right here in this particular section, what I have done is I made this area right here a little bit darker. However, I cannot necessarily continue all the way to the other side to make it this dark, because I have this section above quite dark. So in that case, I want to make sure that I have a nice little transition between this dark area to a lighter value. It's so funny how, hearing myself talk about these things that I do sometimes without even thinking. It's very interesting to actually hear me talk about what I'm actually doing. So notice that this whole entire time I did not use my blending tool at all. I'm straight up just shading. I want to see that texture in there. I really like to see the texture. This example is it's not supposed to take this long, but because I'm working on an iPad and because I'm actually zooming in, my my take on it is like, it feels as if I'm working on a much grander, bigger example or size paper, if you will. In reality, on a piece of paper, these boxes wouldn't be any bigger than maybe a 3" by 3" square, probably a little bit smaller. So it shouldn't take you this long to shade this, but I'm really enjoying myself, and hopefully you are too. It's always fun to see how a very simple doodle can be transformed into something interesting. And I could probably do a whole lot of work on this and make it look even more interesting. I've actually done a big drawing, which I'm still working on because life happens. And I got sidetracked and I completely forgot about it for a long time. I started it a few years ago and I keep going back to it looking at it and saying to myself, oh, I gotta finish this. I don't have very much more to go on it, but for some reason I keep putting it on the back burner. But it's similar in some ways with this, and it has these beautiful curves, these beautiful movements. And then this one, I know what, I don't think I want this here anymore. I feel like that can just go away. I kind of like that emptiness in there. So you can erase any extras, and if you drew very lightly, you wouldn't even know that anything was there to begin with. So this can definitely, be worked on a little bit more. But it's just an example for you to see how to shade and create contrast. So now we have, two different takes on, how to turn a few lines into something. Okay. So another thing that you can do, and this is going to be the last example I'm going to make, because I just want to make 3 examples, and then the 4th one is going to be something you're going to be doing on your own. You can do whatever you want to do in there. You can draw straight lines, you can draw curved lines, you can draw a doodle, whatever you like to draw will be fine. Okay, so notice I just drew some lines, nothing special. You can use a ruler to draw them. Okay, so now what I want you to think about is that these are not just lines. Think of these as being some pipes, okay, and they're one on top of each other. So we're gonna start out with the one that is all the way in the back. And I mean, how do I know that this is all the way in the back? I don't. I'm deciding that this is going to be the one all the way in the back. So this pipe right here is going to be shaded a rather dark value, okay, and then I'm going to continue it this way. Now on your paper, make sure that you do the lines very, very lightly, because you will probably need to do a little bit of erasing. So you might as well draw them very light and not have to erase them. Because you're gonna be covering them up with shading. So this one is going to be a darker value. Now let's see which other one can be in the back. Let's say that this one right here is going to be all the way in the back. So I'm going to shade it with a darker value. I should make this tip a little bit smaller. Okay, the next one that we're going to do is going to be lighter in value, and I'm going to do this one right here. Now when you are shading this and you are going up against that edge, try not to make this kind of shading, okay, where it goes right on the line. Try to do your shading this way. Okay, that's actually going to create a bit of three-dimensional aspect, even though I'm not that interested in making this super duper three-dimensional at this point, but it will help. It will help a lot. And obviously right here I have to go back and shade a little bit more. If you have to go along the edge, then make sure you don't press hard. Go very, very light with your pencil. So try to do this first, where you are shading perpendicularly up against that edge. Take out a post-it note and put it right here on this edge right here, and that's gonna help you keep that edge nice and clean so you don't go over. So this next one because it needs to be a little bit lighter. I'm gonna have to erase this line because it's too dark. I'm actually going with white because I don't want to use the eraser and then run into other issues. So this one is going to be on top of this one like this. It's gonna go underneath the next one. So here I'm going to erase these lines over here. And then it's going to go on top of the next one. So it's sort of like weaving in and out. There you go. Let me erase this over here. Okay. And then the last one is going to get the lightest value. And then we need to adjust. So I'm going to blend. I'm going to blend because that way I can create that contrast a little bit better. So this edge right here is a bit too dark, but that's okay. We can blend it. So I feel like that needed to be a little bit darker over there to give it a bit more contrast. And you can see how that's gonna make a huge difference now. So this can be cleaned up a little bit more on the edges and everything, but you get the idea of how to do this. I hope. um, learn to use your pencil. Learn to hold your pencil properly. And when you are shading, try not to press too hard with the pencil. And that should give you some really nice results. So there. Like I said in this last one, I would like you to do your own example. Okay? So hopefully that taught you something new. And to those that are not in my class and they are coming in here and watching these videos, I hope that you will grab a pencil and you will work along with us and you will practice your shading skills using these very simple techniques or very simple examples. And I promise you, you are going to get better and better and better. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you again. See you.